And we are live. Welcome to Seekh Talks. We're going to introduce Seekh Talks in a moment, but first, let me informally get to know our guest today. We have Parmeet Singh Sood with us. Now, we are on Indian Standard Time. We're going to give about 1 minute for everybody to tune in, and then we're going to get started. But oh, this is going to be an incredible session because Parmeet Singh is going to be talking about the one thing only, because when we need concentration, we need to concentrate on the one thing. And let me actually introduce it because we're always deeply short on time, and with too much time to do and with too many things to do and too little time, in this scenario, we end up doing tasks and work as it becomes more and more urgent. And the ones, we do things that are in our comfort zone without necessarily prioritizing the important things. And the result is we do not match our own boss's expectations. And we ourselves are our own boss so many times. What if we knew what is that one thing we could do which will derive the maximum results? That would be magical. And that's what today's talk is all about. So welcome, Parmeet Singh. This is such an honor to have you here on Seekh Talks. I know you have so many other things to do today. So thank you for your valuable time. And to our viewers who are just tuning in, we know you also have a lot of places to go and so many things to do. So thank you for your valuable time, because together today, we are going to create magic. So let me just introduce a little bit about Seekh Talks first, and then we'll go on. Now, Seekh Talks, thank you, Samir Singh. The Seekh Talks and the Sikh Chamber of Commerce has brought us Seekh Talks. It's an initiative by the Sikh Chamber of Commerce, and it's a platform of learning, it's a platform of motivation, and it's a platform of inspiration. It's all about human values, the values of growth, the values of scale, and the values of global impact. And it's a platform in which we bring forth icons and achievers and change makers from diverse backgrounds, and we facilitate learning through listening and engagement with speakers. And in this new age platform, because it's a digital platform for the digital age, we are focused mainly on online events and talks like this. So now that I've introduced Seekh Talks, I'm going to introduce our incredible speaker. Our incredible speaker is Mr. Parmeet Singh Sood. Now, Parmeet is a wonderful human being. He's a very famous person, and he's also the head of the CMX group, which is a very diversified group in many businesses and fields of automotive and railway and components and food contracts and materials and trading and distribution and merchant export and so many other things, including business consulting. Now, in his career of 20 years, he has grown his small family business 120 times. Now, I'm going to repeat this because this is important: 120x. Now, the CMX group serves all major global OEMs. And this is huge because they have a distribution network all over India under the CMX brand. Now, apart from managing this diversified group with 4 plants and 5 international offices and 4 global warehouses and almost 500 globally important people, Parmeet is now living his mission. And his mission is to inspire and educate small businesses and medium businesses to scale up, so they can be the torchbearers to generate employment for our poor nation. And and at the same time, creating business owners that can achieve more and do more and have more financial freedom. So welcome, Parmeet. Now, just one more thing about Parmeet I know, before I let him jump in, is that Parmeet has been speaking and training on various platforms like CII and ACMA and the Sikh Chamber of Commerce and MIWA and etc. for many years. And for the last 3 years, he's also been a speaker at the National Achievers Conference alongside my guru Brian Tracy and then Guru Gopal Das and Jack Canfield. So the NAC, this is an event held in 51 countries, and personalities like Tony Robbins and Robert Kiyosaki and Donald Trump and Richard Branson, and this is just to name a few, share the stage globally with Parmeet. So welcome, finally, Parmeet. Welcome to Seekh Talks. Glad to have you here.
Thank you so much, Gulraj. This was a long introduction. Thank you so much for that. Thank you.
Now, Parmeet, we're here to talk about the one thing and the one thing only, and you tell us what it is. And I have a lot of questions prepared for you. So to our viewers listening in and jumping in, have a lot of questions ready. We're going to take questions throughout and near the end. And when there's a section break, we're going to jump in and take some questions. So over the next 35, 40 minutes, we're going to have Parmeet speaking to us. And Parmeet, if you don't mind, I have a few questions for you, but I want you to get started on this incredible concept of the one thing, please.
Right. So, we are living in an age where everybody is running behind time and everybody is super busy Everybody has too many tasks to do, and eventually, these days you brag about being able to multitask. Now, what I am going to talk about is that multitasking, in my understanding, doesn't work, and I'll tell you why. Multitasking was a word which was made for computer chips, which
Okay.
meant that they would be able to run different tasks by switching between one task to the other, and it would have no lag of time, so you would not know because it's a computer chip. Whereas when humans do multitasking, when you try and switch from one task to the other, there is always a time lag between trying to refocus on the other one. And it's been seen that one third of your day, if you're trying to do too many things together, one third of your day would just go in refocusing your energy back to what you were doing first and then second. And there's another study which says every 11 minutes in an office, you get a distraction. So all of that put together, this whole thing doesn't work if you have too much of a clutter. So what I'm going to talk about today is how do we focus on what is the most important thing that you need to do, for which all other things either become easier or perhaps unnecessary. And how do you declutter yourself? And how do you come out of that rut that everything I only have to do, and if I don't do it, it will not happen. And I'm not talking only about entrepreneurs. I'm talking about people who are senior management, CEOs, even department heads, vice president, whosoever at whatsoever level is all trying to do a little too much. And today I'm going to break it up in a way where I'll tell you how you can derive still maximum result. But if you start focusing on that one thing, it is like Arjun, trying to hit the eye of the fish, right?
Yes.
And that's what today's session is all about. So
Now, let me just tell me one thing. The end result is going to be that we are going to have people that are more successful if they follow this philosophy, right?
sorry, I didn't get you.
I
Come
was
again.
asking you the end result. The goal of all of this would be that your and my heart says that, if people follow what you're going to say to us today, if they follow these philosophies, overall, they're going to be more successful, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. See,
Okay.
we have
So now,
we have these long to-do lists, right? And
yes.
we have no principle with which one to do first. Either, I mean, we do random key, we start writing what we need to do, and then we
Yeah.
start following tick, tick, tick in the same order. Or we say, okay, let's do one big task first, and then we will take care of the others. Or
Yeah.
the other way around, let's do all the small tasks, and then we will get to the first task. Now, all of this is one way of looking at it, but what I am going to share today is going to be another way of looking at it, and it has delivered results for a lot of people, including myself, and I'm sure it is going to be a very powerful tool to help us get better results.
Now, let's speak of results and success. Do you consider yourself successful?
Yes, from the eyes of the world and how the world views success, yes, perhaps
Yes.
I am successful. From the time I started to where I've gotten, yes, definitely I would say that I am. But I try to find success every day, and I struggle to get to the level of success I desire, and that's something which is bigger than where I am today.
Then, what, in your eyes, how would you define success?
So it's very individual. I have created a mission for myself, and I am on the journey to achieve that mission. And once I get to that point and I'm able to achieve my mission, is when I would consider myself being successful.
Now, before I let you go on and tell us about the one thing, can we know what your mission is?
Surely, yes. For that, I'll have to tell you a story.
Okay,
All right. So
I'm
I'll
all
take you
ears.
20 years back. All right.
Yes.
So I hope everybody wants to hear a little story about me. I joined the business a little more than 20 years back. Back in '99, I finished my graduation from the University of Bradford. I'd done business management from a fancy place. And at that time, we had a small little factory making rubber components, which is a very dirty business in terms that you use a lot of rubber, you use a lot of carbon. So it's a black and blue business. And we had a small little factory in a not so organized area. And I told my father that I want to perhaps go to the US, continue with my studies, and then try charting out a career path. And
Yes.
for my father, I was the only son. So obviously, he wanted me to join the business, right? So we had a lot of conversation and a lot of argument about the pros and cons. So eventually there was an argument which I did not have an answer to. And the argument was like, my father said, Beta, you are born in this country and then you're born in my house. And I started this business, I started this small little enterprise, and we have grown it to a small little point where today about 50 of us or 50 families are fed through this small enterprise. And you being born in my family and in this country and have gotten the kind of knowledge and the education that you have, your all of this has happened by the design of God. Yes or no? I said definitely yes. I believe in the fact that it's all design of God. He says the reason why all of this has happened and the fact that you have all the knowledge that you do is because of the fact that your job and your responsibility is that today this is 50 people being fed out of this enterprise. You
Yeah.
take it to greater heights and feed 500 or 5,000 families going forward. And even at the age of 22, that argument stuck with me, and I couldn't. Uh, I mean, I had nothing more to say, and I've jumped in. And today we've brought it by God's grace from 50 to 500, and I have a clear direction as to where and how I would take it over a point where we as a company would be employing 5,000 people directly and indirectly.
That's
Now,
excellent.
coming to the reason why I'm telling you this story, right?
Yes.
The reason I'm telling you this story is that few years ago, I recreated this mission and purpose in a bigger scale. So one of my mentors brought or hammered that to me. And now that bigger mission and bigger purpose is that if I can help, say, 100 or 1,000 more small and medium business owners, entrepreneurs to scale up from 50 to 500 or 500 to 5,000, I would have had expanded my mission. Not only that, I would myself directly be able to feed 500 or 5,000 families going forward. I would have had created an ecosystem where maybe 100,000 or 500,000 families or people could be employed inside that ecosystem. So that is the mission and that is the purpose of life, what I am trying to live today.
Excellent. Now, how does this tie into our topic today, the one thing? Because you are very focused. I know you as a person, you have this focused mastery. You are honed in on your goals, and I see you always going towards your goals like a missile just locked into like a device, like a heat-seeking missile just on its target. So now tell us about the one thing. Tell us how you did it so that we can be inspired.
Sure. So, I am a constant learner. I believe
Yeah.
in lifelong learning, and I know that you do too. And we are the same tribe, and that's why we gel together, right? So this has been a constant way of me trying to upgrade myself. Obviously, I've learned a lot with experience from being in the business and trying to do something big. So when you make big vision, you make big goals, you have to have tools with you which can lead you faster with greater velocity towards that mission. So I've been trying to have a lot of training, reading a lot of books, uh, putting things together, and having a lot of different mentors trying to guide me. So I stumbled upon a few things on my own. To start with, I stumbled upon this concept of I didn't stumble upon, I probably read it in my management, and then when I a few years later I kind of recreated it for my business. This is called the 80-20 principle, right?
Right.
I'm not sure how many of our viewers have heard about it or have seen. I would like them to probably put that into the comment section if they know what is the 80-20 principle.
Yeah, viewers, if you've heard of the Pareto principle, the 80-20 principle, just give us a thumbs up. Go ahead, Puneet.
Sure. So, for the people who do not know what is the 80-20 principle, let me give you a few examples. Now, initially, this 80 Pareto principle was created by an economist called Wilfredo Pareto in 1897. He was an Italian economist, and he created this talking about the wealth distribution inequality. He said that 80% of the world's wealth is in the hands of 20% people and vice versa. So that's where this whole concept of 80-20 came in. And as we know that even in today's time, the wealth distribution is even more unequal. We talk about that 1% of the wealthy control probably the 90% of the wealth. So it stems from there. and then it was brought into the automotive industry, or it was fitted into the automotive industry by a gentleman, if I remember correctly, Joseph Juran. He was a quality guy at GM, and he found that he applied this whole principle to quality defects. That he said that 80% of the defects in an automobile were being created by a handful of the flaws. So there were 100 areas which were going wrong. There were perhaps about 20% of the areas which were contributing to 80% of the defect.
Right.
So this is just a few examples. You can apply it anywhere and everywhere. For example, revenue. As a company, 80% of your revenue would perhaps be coming from 20% of the customer, and vice versa. Your purchasing, you would have 100 things that you would be buying in the company, but 20 items out of those 100 items perhaps would be 80% of the purchase value, and so on and so on and so on. And it can be applied anywhere in life. So this was the start from where I kind of learned further and took it more deeper to bring it focused more and narrow it down to the one thing. Right. So I can, I can jump into the technical bit of it. Right?
Absolutely. We'd like to know the how and how it applies to my everyday business. That's what everybody's wondering.
Sure. So let's go by one example. Let's take me one big example. The last thing that I said, that for example, you are a business and you buy 100 different SKUs or 100 different items.
Yeah.
Now, when you buy 100 different items, let's say you buy them for 1 crore rupees. The total of purchasing value of those 100 items is 1 crore rupees. Consider this. You create that list and you put it in the descending order of the value of the purchase, right? So at the top, you would get all the items where the purchase values are higher, and then it'll go in the descending order, right?
Absolutely.
Now, once you create that order, you would realize that approximately 20%, it could be for some people 75-25, it could be 15-85, but it will be in that range, that between 15 to 25% or perhaps 30% of your items would contribute to about 80% of all of your purchases, right?
Yeah.
For the sake of this example, let's stick to the 80-20 rule and go with it. And I would request all my viewers who are online right now, perhaps have one pen or paper, or at least open up a calculator on their phones, and you can follow me along. So if you're buying 1 crore worth of material, 100 items, now let's say you've created the list in descending order of purchase value, and the top 20 items are 80% of your purchase value. So that is to say that 20 SKUs are 80 lakhs worth of goods. Are we clear up to there?
Absolutely.
So now 80 lakhs worth of goods. Now let's concentrate. If we are looking at an across the board reduction of 10% of purchasing cost, let's take that as our target, that we want to achieve a situation where we cut down our purchase buying price by 10%. Now, okay, how we will do that and create a project, we'll leave that to a side. So that's our goal, that we want to come down from 1 crore worth of purchasing value to 90 lakhs worth of purchasing value. That's our goal with which we are doing this exercise. Now, if you see that 20% of the items or 20 SKUs account for 80 lakhs of purchase, now where do you need to focus? You need to focus on reducing costs on these 20 items, because the effort needed, finding a vendor, negotiating with the vendor, and all that will remain the same irrespective of the purchase value of that particular item, right? So then what do we concentrate on is, let's concentrate on the top 20. If we are able to get that 10% reduction in the top 20 items, it can definitely save you 8 lakhs out of the 10 lakh goal that we have. Yes. So 20% work, you do 20% of the work and you get 80% of the result.
Yes.
You worked on 20 items, and then you will have enough time, you will have enough focus, you can create enough strategies to work on just 20 items, achieve 80% of the goal, move that big piece out of the way, and then focus on the others. I'm not saying leave the others, maybe leave the others, delegate it to somebody else, or come to that later once you've achieved at least 80% of the result, right? So this is where 80-20 is. Now let me take you one step forward. Now, when you have the top 20 items worth 80 lakh of purchase, let's apply 80%, 80-20 rule again to those 20 items.
Okay, to the top 20%.
Yes, let's forget about the rest 80. We parked them
All right.
aside. To the 20 items that we have in front, we again apply an 80-20 rule. That means that 4 items on the top would again be 80% of the purchase value, right? So out of the 80 lakhs, 80% of 80 lakhs, 64 lakh rupees worth, it'll again, it can be approximations, it can be plus and minus. But if you look at it, the top 20% items, say from the 20 items that we're left with, top 20% is 4 items, would be roughly about 80% of your purchasing price, right? Now, if we focus our energy on reducing 10% cost on only 4 items, we still achieve 64% result, or 6.4 lakhs out of the 10 lakhs we started as target.
Yes.
Now, we've just done 4% work and we've gotten 64% result. Isn't that awesome?
That's awesome. Absolutely.
It makes sense. So if we focus our energy, we would have more strategies. Again, we can go more deeper. We can go global sourcing. We can look at alternate materials. We can look at alternate production technologies. We can look at too many things. Because when you're in a hurry, you have 100 things to do. You just touch upon, अच्छा यार इससे rate ले लेते हैं, अच्छा यार इससे quotation मंगा लेते हैं, and you say नहीं यार इससे तो saving नहीं हो रही, and you finish it off there because you have too much to do. But if you have just 4 things, 4 items, you can dig deeper, sit with your engineering people, sit with your customers, sit with your supplier, try and find 20,000 different ways how to reduce that 10% cost, right? Onto that. So now by working 4%, I'm saying that there is a possibility of achieving 64% result, right?
Oh, wow.
So that's why I said, please bring your calculators out, right? Is my math right?
The
right?
math
So
was
just
fine. The math was fine. I double checked it.
Right. So this is the idea. This is the idea. Now I'm not stopping here.
Okay.
I'm not stopping here. I'm saying I have 4 items. Now I apply the 80-20 one more time.
All right. Just to the top 20% again.
Yes. So out of 4, what is 20%? It's actually 0.8.
Yeah.
So let's say round off to 1 item. So now that is what I'm saying is the one thing.
The
one item.
Thing.
Right? Now we had 64% result with 4 items. So 80% value of the 64% is 51.2%.
Yeah.
Right? So 51.2% is that now you've done full focus, full energy, full dedication to just one part, one important high value part. And you try and bring that down by 10%. Trust me, if you will give this focus to that part, perhaps you will bring it down by more than 10%. I have done it in my life. So now by putting 1% effort or working on only one thing, we've at least achieved 51.2%, or let's round it off to 50%. Half of the job that we started with, half of the target that we started with, we've been able to achieve by just concentrating our entire energy on that one part, on that one thing. That's what I am talking about as the one thing. Now, this can be applied across the board. It's not only about purchasing. I've just given you one example. So a lot of us know 80-20. A lot of us who've done management courses and have been in the industry and been working. Automotive industry is very organized that way. So we come across all of this. But then I'm saying take it 2 steps deeper. From 20, you bring it to 4. From 4, you bring it to 1. And that's where you have it. Similar will be the case with your customers, right? Just concentrate on your top 20% customers. Top 20% ka bhi niche le jaiye. Top 4 customers, or just concentrate on one customer. Right? I'll give you an example of one customer that I focused on, and I said, okay, let me go all out and try and focus my energy as to getting as much business I can from that one customer. Okay, I'm not saying get dependent on that one customer, because that has some other pitfalls. All I'm saying is that out of perhaps, say in my OEM business, I have about 40 odd customers. So I said, okay, which is that one customer I focus on and I get their global purchase.
Yeah.
In less than 1 year of me trying to focus on it, I got, as of today, 4.5 times the business that I had with that customer, because I was not being focused. It was already a big customer,
Yeah.
but I could bring the business from the same customer 4.5 times. I was a supplier to them only in Europe. He gave me business in China. He gave me business in US. He gave me business in Brazil. He gave me business in India. His entire global buying of the kind of components that we make, we are today his largest supplier across the globe.
Wow.
That's what I'm talking about. Four and a
Wow.
half times. It was already my, as I said, one of my biggest customers. And now I have 4.5 times the business from that. So if I had to create the same result in terms of revenue generation, मतलब घोड़े खोल देता मेरा पूरी टीम, तो इतने सारे कस्टमरों के पीछे पढ़ते पढ़ते would not have been able to do that what we could create with this one customer.
Wonderful. Now, Parmeet, Suman is asking, it's a great strategy, but does it work for everyone? And if yes, what do we need to learn to be able to apply it?
So, Sumanji, my first and foremost, it works for everyone. It even works in your personal relationships. It even works uh, in your family, in your kids, with your kids. What is that one thing you want your kids to be doing? What is that one thing that you want in your marriage together? So we try and do a lot, but maybe our marriage is not as successful, or maybe we try and do a lot with our kids. We are not as successful. So it works with everyone. It is just a question of starting to apply it and slowly build muscle and have that focus. So the question that you need to ask in that, I mean, here I talked about figures and numbers. Now I'm going to tell you one question which you perhaps should write it down.
Yeah.
Every time you get on to doing something, right? First of all, everything comes out of creation. So I am not a guy who jumps into operations. I first strategize, I first plan, I first give it a lot of thought, I give it a lot of ideation, and then I get into the operation. So if you do all of that, the question or the focusing question that you need to ask every time you want to create something like that,
Yeah.
the question is, what is the one thing that I should do which makes everything else either easier or completely unnecessary? That's the question you need to repeatedly ask yourself.
Yeah.
As simple as that, right? So that's the focusing question. I'm going to repeat it for everybody to kind of write it down. What is the one thing that I should do? With doing that, either everything else becomes easier or it is completely unnecessary. That's the question that you must ask yourself when you want to create some result in some area, whether it is one department, whether it is one business, whether it is one project, whether it is one small area. I mean, you do accounting, there are too many things to do in accounting. Pick up one area, you need to set that right. Okay, what is that one thing I need to do in this small little area? What is that one thing should I do that this entire thing moves to another level? So things like that.
Okay. Now we have a question here. In fact, I have a question. So great, you're working towards achieving this mission both inside your organization and for yourself, and also passing this knowledge on to fellow entrepreneurs. Are you doing that as well? Is that also part of your mission, helping them focus on the one thing?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to help, 100 or 1,000 entrepreneurs during my life. So that's where the entire concept or the entire creation of CMX Consulting happened. Inside that thought. So for me, to have a consulting business or a consulting arm was just with that focus that I could get into people's businesses. I could work with them hands-on and try and figure out what are their roadblocks, where they're getting stuck. Because Gulraj, I am not coming up, to be honest, as any consultant who has not had any practical side of it. I've been there, I've seen it all. I started going to my vendors on a two-wheeler in choti galiyan of Anand Parvat and used to get jobs done. I've seen that side. I see what a small little shop who's trying to do something, what is the hurdle that they have. And I was also that kind of a small little job. And one after the other, how I was able to overcome that hurdle. So I bring that experience. And not only that, I bring my own experience. I put together a team of different experts in different domains: quality systems, production, management, sales strategies, marketing. A lot of us don't even differentiate between sales and marketing.
Yeah.
It's all jumbled up. So we have domain experts in a lot of these fields. And then I bring those experts on board as required by that particular entrepreneur or by that particular business, depending upon the need. So that's what I create from that. And plus, I do trainings, which I mean, I've been guilty of not being very consistent with it. But sitting in this lockdown period, that's something which I'm trying to create. That how do I create my entire training funnel that I get a little more consistent with it, and that's how I would like to add value to different people as well. So that's what I intend to do. Yeah.
Now, Sumanji likes your conviction to this. Now, I had a question here. If you could help us with the focus part of it now. You see, we understand, yes, why it is important to narrow it down to the one thing, because that's where we will derive maximum results. But focus in reality is not that easy, because if you see the generation, even like you and I, we are from 2 generations ago. But the generation nowadays, they have phones and iPads and this and that and so many distractions. You and I, when we grew up, one channel was there, Doordarshan. And when DD2 came out, it was worse than DD1. So we were stuck to Doordarshan. But then these kids have 400 channels, and they have Hotstar and Hulu and Apple TV and Disney Plus and all these things. How does one focus in spite of so many competing distractions? Because those are also important.
So I'm guilty as charged of being falling for these distractions as well. It's not that I don't. I'm not say that I am able to run everything like clockwork. I wish I could, but what I try and do, or what I try and follow most of the times, is a routine, a schedule, and I put myself into that. So it's not about just creating that to-do list. It's about finding that one thing, and then it's about scheduling time to be able to do that one thing as well. Now, distractions are everywhere, as you rightly said. I don't have to repeat that. How and when do you schedule time for those distractions? You schedule time. These many hours I'll watch Netflix. This hour I will do whatever on Facebook and LinkedIn and whatsoever. And then this is what I would do to create my life. And it's again, very fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know how to put it, but a lot of us get satisfied too fast, right? Oh, we have that mindset ki yaar, do roti mil rahi hai, sahi hai, it's all good. And that's what kills growth. People get stuck in their comfort zone and they don't want to come out of it and not grow. So perhaps for a lot of people, these distractions kind of help them stay there. But I would say create a mission big enough, create a vision big enough that it just gets so much fire in your belly that it keeps you going and keeps you going and keeps you going. So it's about you. What do you want to do? We talk about purpose of life. So I want everyone to ask. I'm sure a lot of us have created awesome purposes in life, but I just want to reinforce that. What is my purpose of life is the question that you need to ask. What is that I can do on this planet? What is that I can contribute on this planet? Right? So I just shared my mission, right? Everybody, to each his own, right? Everybody would have very different missions to create. But I would like for everyone to sit down, ideate, and create that entire mission in their lives. So that's what I feel that is needed if you want to. I get distracted, but then I tell myself, boss, mission, boss, ye kaam, ye kaam.
Yes.
It's a habit, right? Even if I sleep at 11 in the night, I know I have to get up at 4 a.m. because that's a habit I've created. And that 4 a.m., I know that by the time the world wakes up, what I have created. It's not that कि मैं कोई मशीन चला के parts बना लेता हूँ. It's not that कि मैं कोई नोटों की मशीन चला के कोई नोट छाप लेता हूँ. But the ideation I'm able to do, the focus I'm able to bring, the strategizing I'm able to do in that couple of hours in the morning is brilliant. I mean, that's something which, again, one of my mentors inculcated, and now it's a habit. It's an automatic clock. So there's a lot of things that you need to do. You'll have to have me over for the whole day to talk about all what you can do to, get that fire in the belly. Get
Now,
that
I'm
fire.
sure you could help because there's so many people that you help all the time. My question is, why do you think the entrepreneur isn't always able to do it himself or herself?
Um, First and foremost, the point and the problem is that the entrepreneur wants to do everything himself. And I'm
Yeah.
talking to a lot of the MSMEs, right? We talk about the fact that we are the backbone of the country. We have 40% of GDP, of all GDP hovering onto us, and we are the largest employment generators. But the problem is that we stay MSMEs. We are not
Yeah.
able to come out of that. Now that's the culture. It's a word I would use. It'll be a little hard, but or harsh. We run our businesses as a lala sitting on a hatti.
Yeah.
Ki everything lala karega. Everybody else is just there to do menial tasks, and everything which is a little bigger than menial, that also is very menial from a lala's for a lala's caliber. But wo sab lala karega. So
Yeah.
people do not create teams. Even if some businesses create teams, they do not know what to get them to do. They would give them again some task random. अच्छा तू आज क्या कर रहा है? ये कर रहा है. अच्छा तू ऐसा कर, ये भी कर ले. अच्छा कर ऐसे.
Yeah.
So there is no
Yeah.
structured way of defining responsibilities of the team. And then again the growth doesn't happen. And okay, if they go to that level that okay, they create some structure around कि अच्छा ये तेरे सारे task हैं, ये तेरे हैं, ये तेरे हैं, then there is no review mechanism to be
Yeah.
able to ensure कि जो किया है, जो दिया है, वो हो रहा है कि नहीं हो रहा है. So it's it depends on where you are in your journey, or where you are in your business. So it will be different for different people. But then these are all the steps. But if you can have a team, if you can match the team's caliber to the responsibilities, have a review mechanism, have a measurement system to make sure that they are doing what they are doing. All of this put together, your business can expand beyond your ability. We all get stuck because everybody has a limited ability as an individual.
Yeah.
But then as soon as you are able to delegate this and get work done from your team, that ability becomes the team's ability. And then the team, you can grow from 10 to 100 to 1000, 10,000, whatever it is. It's just a question of creating that mindset first within you,
Yeah.
which is the most important. Our businesses are limited by our and only our vision and
Yeah.
our mission and our mindset. It has nothing at all to do with the caliber of the people. Everything else will fall in place once we, as the so-called lala,
Yeah.
our mindsets get to that bigger mission and vision. So that's what is the problem I feel. And there is bureaucracy, there is system is against us, and then we keep on blaming the market, the economy, the circumstances. Like for example, right now we're in this lockdown.
Yeah.
Isn't my business suffering? Yes, it's suffering humongously huge. I was already in a very big cash crunch even before the lockdown happened. Now it's going to be even further disastrous. But there are two ways I can live my life: keep cribbing, keep crying, keep complaining about what happened and what will happen. Or else I did that for a couple of days. I was stressed and whatever else. Then I left that alone and recreated everything to a point where today my team is busier than what they are at the office. I think
Yeah.
my CEO and most of my team is perhaps online, and they have all been assigned tasks. We are having morning meetings, reviews are happening. I mean, I have a CEO who does that review. I do my review with the CEO and the HODs. But all that structure, we never had a work from home structure. But we've created the work from home structure, and we're concentrating on all of this. And between me and my CEO, in this past 1 week, we have on 3 or 4 different things, created that one big thing, which will take care of even this cash flow issue. 2 days ago, between me and my CEO, we had a conversation at 8 o'clock in the night, and we created something which is going to help us humongously huge in the cash flows problem which we are going to have because of this lockdown, right?
Yeah.
That's the progress. My machines are shut, my manufacturing is shut, but this
Yeah.
is amazing progress that by the time we open, we would have created an entire structure to work towards improving our cash flow from that one thing. So
Yeah.
that's all in your mind. How you can get focus on it and how you can bring results.
Now, Parmeet, Uh, this is very interesting, and I'm sure all the entrepreneurs out there are listening. And in fact, we even have Taranveer saying that you keep nailing me because he feels like he's being a lala in this. But for me, it's just I'm just saying entrepreneurs they're so busy with a lot of things and always suffering from the lack of time and the lack of time, and they have so much on their plate, and they have so many things to do even operationally that their attention and their focus becomes limited to the portions that they're able to keep up with, and so many other things that they're not able to keep up with.
Right.
What would be your advice for them?
All right. So the keyword is operations.
Yeah,
Now, I want everybody to be true to themselves. All the people who are in business, especially that since this question is for people in business,
yeah,
we as business owners, and I'm using the word we, I am also guilty of doing that sometimes, and then I have to refocus myself.
yeah,
We go to our work, we go to our office, we go to our factory, we do operations.
yeah,
We just do operations, and we think that we're doing business. Operations is not business. Let me repeat that for everybody. Please, please, please get out of that concept. Operations is not business. आप सवेरे गए 9 बजे आपने 10 लोगों को टास्क बताया अब ये क्या चल रहा है प्रोडक्शन क्या चल रही है ये क्या चल रहा है वो क्या चल रहा है you're talking about operations all day all night 9 to 5 and operations and you've just done operations and you say that you're doing business. Operations is just one small part of the business.
yeah,
Business is much more than that. Business is marketing, business is sales, business is finance, business is strategy, business is action planning, business is future looking, business is understanding the trends of the market, business is bringing in new technology. All of that needs to happen, but we become so busy doing operations that we forget about it. So
yeah.
that's what I try and bring to the table. That's where I come into a business, and that's the focus we bring. That's what we reorient the promoter, we reorient the business owner, we orient them that boss, let's talk about operations, yes, but business is much bigger, much higher a pedigree than operations. Let's just focus our energy on those things or find that one thing in the business which
Yeah.
can change the face of the entire operations, right?
Now, for me, I believe that if everybody writes this on a big sheet of paper, prints this out, puts this on the mirror, so every morning they read this 10 times before they go to work, operations is not business, and they
Absolutely.
thank you every single day for this, I think they will be much better off, much more successful, much more wealthier, and however they define their success, I think this is all going to be. Now, I have another question here.
Yes, sir.
Okay, but the big question I have is how do we arrive at that one thing? We have so many things that we need to do in our business, and whenever we think of doing something, we always think about the different actions and the items we have to do. When we go to our business and our work, we have so many tasks from so many projects and a lot of different customers and so many assignments and pendencies and priorities and urgencies, and we start to firefight. For me, is this how we manage? I'm being very mindful that yes, operations is not business, but there is a lot on our plate. How do we find that one thing in spite of all of this?
So we need to create a structure. And in that structure, we need to have a team. I'm not saying that for everybody, a team, when I say a team, it has to start from the entire structure of CEOs and vice presidents and HODs.
Yeah,
Even if it is just simple, our हमारे इंडस्ट्री में स्मॉल टाइम इंडस्ट्री में ना फोरमैन होता है फोरमैन को दे दो ऑपरेशन उसको बोले यार तू चला ऑपरेशन मुझे कोई लेना देना नहीं है विद ऑपरेशन लेट द फोरमैन रन द ऑपरेशन फॉर यू right?
yes,
Have a review structure with him. Now, we have a foreman, or we have a supervisor, or we have a plant head, or we have a plant manager, whatever the designation or whatever else there is. But we have not passed on the entire platter or the entire baton in his hand. He boss,
yeah,
this is the marathon, this part of the marathon you need to run, and
yeah,
I am just passing it on here.
yes,
यहाँ तक मैं लाके दूंगा धंधा में लाके दूंगा प्रोडक्ट आपको बनाना है everything else will come together you do it so
yeah,
even if we start with that foreman, not necessarily you have a flat organization. I have absolutely no problem with it. You have only 4 or 5 small time supervisors, operations, GETs. I mean, fresher guys in with you in your organization. but you give them the entire structure, as I said, from responsibility to authority to the measurement system, the review, and stitch it all together and let them handle what it is. And in a typical business, what happens is you're doing सारा दिन मीटिंग चलती रहती है, 2-2 मिनट, हर चीज के लिए लाले के केबिन में, हर चीज के लिए लाले के केबिन में, हर चीज के लिए लाले के केबिन में. I started with locking my cabin and putting a note. People who worked with me for long enough, they know there was a note, no entry. Then I had kept a secretary. She became my barrier. People will come up to my secretary and ask for a meeting. मैं खाली भी बैठा हूं ना, तब भी मैं किसी को ऐसे ही entertain नहीं करूं.
Right.
That's how you have to create an entire culture whereby you have a formal, structured review, formal, structured way of getting things ahead.
Yes. Now, the last thing I want to ask is, tell us the science, tell us the technology, the process that will bring us towards that one thing.
So as I said already, the science is clear. You have to apply that 80-20 rule. You need to figure out with what one thing that you can derive the maximum result. That process is there. The question you need to continuously ask, which I've repeated, and I saw in the comments somebody said, please repeat that again. What is that one thing that I today need to do? Even if it is today, if it is, forget that you've not been able to do a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan. Even if it is today, when you create your days management or days to-do list, figure it out. What is that one thing that you need to do, which would make either all else easier or redundant and unnecessary, and you create something. So operational example, आप operation की एक problem आती है, आप उसको बताते हो, इसको ऐसे कर ले, इसको ऐसे कर ले, इसको ऐसे कर ले. Instead of doing that time and time again, why don't you go down on the drawing board and see what is the problem which is reoccurring again and again in the process and redefine the process? That is the one thing you need to do to fix it forever.
Yes.
What we do is we keep on doing the knick-knack, we keep on doing the firefighting, but we do not fix it from the root. So that's the one thing you need to do. So today you have a problem कि भैया ये process में ये problem आ रही है, defect आ रहा है, ये कुछ हो रहा है. So forget about that product, forget about that defect. Figure out, look at the entire process. We have process flow charts and we go back to that process flow chart and identify what is the gap. So I'm just saying, in your head, even if it is in your head, आप एक बारी पूरा process revisit करो from top to bottom, fix it. Once it gets fixed for all your parts and it gets fixed forever. Fix the process, train the team, bring your supervisor, bring your operator. भाई ये ऐसे नहीं, ऐसे करना है. आज के बाद हर जगह हर चीज पे ऐसे ही करना है. आप एक जगह अप्लाई करो, you get your results, you have data to say कि हाँ ये सही हो गया, then you apply it throughout the organization. So that's how it works, right? As far as I'm concerned. So it's a step-by-step process, right? You go to a gym, you can't take a 20 kg dumbbell and start practicing day one.
Absolutely.
You need to take baby steps. You need to build the muscle. I'm just saying, remain focused. Keep asking this focusing question. Keep asking yourself, what is that one thing I need to do? And then there is a one level guy who's one level down from you. His one thing will be different from your one thing. But his one thing should not be your one thing. Then that's a problem. Because his one thing should be his one thing. Same, tell him, train him, teach him to delegate forward. And then through the entire system, everybody has their different level of one thing to be able to do. That's where it is.
Wonderful. So now we're just at the home stretch. We're going to be winding up in a couple of minutes. If anybody has any last minute questions, please put them on the comments. I'm going to ask Parmeet. Parmeet, before we go and before I take a couple of last questions here, how do people get in touch with you? If somebody wants to get connected with you, what is the best way?
I would say let's start with LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn, Parmeet Singh Sood, if you will type it, or linkedin.com/in/Parmeet Singh Sood. So, but even if you just type in Parmeet Singh Sood, please get connected with me on LinkedIn. I'll be happy to answer questions. I can share my mobile number as well. Please reach me on WhatsApp. I'm not as accessible on the phone. My calls are forwarded to my secretary. That's a way of me not getting distracted. My calls are answered by my secretary. The only thing which I am a little more active on is WhatsApp. So WhatsApp me. I'll be more than happy to share experiences and
Great.
help you
Now, how
forward.
do we how do we get connected to you on WhatsApp? What's
So
your
it's
phone?
a mobile number. If you want, I can.
If you can just tell it to me, I'll put it up on the
Yeah,
screen.
it's 98
Yeah,
1888
yeah.
4466.
I'll
And
just
that's a
repeat that:
number
nine
I'm
eight
giving
one
out to a
triple
lot
eight.
of people.
Sure, nine eight one triple eight.
98 4466.
Wonderful. I'll just put that on the screen for everybody. Excellent, excellent. So we have two questions that have come in now. The first is, how do we draw the line? How do we draw the line of cost and ROI for small operations or businesses? Where do we draw the line for this?
Uh, if I'm able to understand this question, Satinder ji, correctly, see, it depends upon what are your cash flows and what are you running for. Are you running for return on investment कि मेरे पास 1 लाख रुपया है और मुझे छोटे छोटे मार्जिन लेके इसी 1 लाख को फटाफट रिवॉल्व करके आगे जाना है, या आपको ये देखना है कि पर प्रोडक्ट कि I want to bring my margin ahead. And I talk about there is no bottom line to cost.
Yeah,
आप बोलोगे कि आज मैं ये चीज 100 रुपए की खरीद रहा हूं और इससे सस्ती नहीं मिल सकती.
yeah,
The day you start believing that, you're gone. In my opinion and in my understanding, whatever you're buying at whatever price, there is a possibility to find that product at the same quality from somewhere else in the world at a price cheaper than what you're buying it at.
yes,
For sure. There is still a lot of inefficiency in the way we produce things. And there is always somebody doing a small improvement somewhere in the process or the
yeah,
product which can sell you cheaper. So when new vendor development has to be a constant thing. Looking at your costs, buying costs, creating costing sheets for, again, applying the 80-20 rule for at least your top 20 items or top 20% of the items. These are all the different tools by which you can keep on working on the cost. I never give up on the cost side of things. If I have I know what my top items are. I constantly keep on working on reducing the cost for that, either directly the buying price or the way I pay for it. If I can get a better payment term, that's also bringing me a little bit of value in terms of cost decrease. So we have to continuously look at it.
yes, absolutely. Now, one last question is, let me see here. The Meet was asking if there are a lot of good opportunities to choose from. How do we choose from the many? A simple question, but it's not a simplistic question.
So the main question is, opportunities are everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. How I have done it, or how you look at all successful businesses, find your niche. Find your niche. Get, again, razor focused. What's that one product? What is that one business? What is that one product segment? What is that one market segment that you have better strength, or you have a unique selling proposition?
Yes.
Find that. And it's not about the opportunity. Opportunities are galore. Question is, what matches your strength and the opportunity?
Yes.
That's your niche. That's your USP. Find that, and as soon as you can align that opportunity with your strength, that's the opportunity for you. And again, there's a whole process of doing that. Hire me as a consultant and I'll tell you how do we get to find that niche and creating the unique selling proposition, the USP.
Wonderful. Excellent. Thank you, Parmeet, for your incredibly valuable time. We know that you as a consultant are guiding so many people to become about 120 times bigger than what they are, like you did for your own company. So thanks for your valuable time. It's such an incredible feeling having you at Seekh Talks. It was a little bit hard to pin you down because you're so busy. And in this lockdown time, I know you've become more busier than you were before. So thank you for taking your valuable time and spending there with us.
My pleasure, absolutely. That's my mission. If I've been able to add a little bit of value to everyone, I still see a lot of questions coming. Let's take them offline. We have a 1 hour format here. Please feel free to get in touch with me, and we can continue to have that conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. And thank you to Samir Singh, and thank you, Samir Singh, for creating Seekh Talks. I'll just tell everybody a little bit about Seekh Talks once again, because it's an initiative by the Sikh Chamber of Commerce Now, it's a platform of learning, motivation, inspiration. It's all about the values of growth and global impact and achieving scale. And it's a platform where we focus on icons just like Parmeet Singh Sood, achievers, change makers from their diverse backgrounds who help us facilitate learning through listening and engagement with our speakers. And because it's a digital platform for the digital generation, all our events are going to be mainly focused online. Now, thank you once again. We are always being streamed on 5 places simultaneously, 3 Facebook channels and 2 YouTube channels. Anytime you tune in, do put up your comments and shares. And if you like the Seek Talk, do me a favor and forward it to anybody you would like. And for those of you who missed some questions or those of you who joined in a little late, the recordings are going to be up for a long time, so you can always just go through these. Give a thumbs up if you liked it, and also subscribe to the channel or page so you get notified every day when there's a Seek Talk coming. Tomorrow at 5 o'clock, at 4 o'clock, we are going to be joined by Gurnur Korbel. Gurnur is the LinkedIn expert. She is going to help you take your profile from here to 100 times bigger. Your LinkedIn profiles will never look any better if you come tomorrow to the Seek Talk. Join us tomorrow, and we're going to go live once again, and we're going to tell you all about so many wonderful things. I'm Gulraj Singh Shahpuri. I'll see you tomorrow at the same time, at the same place.
Thank you.